Hey, it's Jess. Welcome back. Today I am here with a book haul and a book unhaul. So last month, June, was my birthday month. I collected a whole bunch of books throughout the month because that's what I wanted for my birthday. And so I collected a lot. Now, I have done, this is my fourth like big book haul that I've filmed and actually had since I started my channel. And I realized I've not had a single unhaul. And I read a bunch of books off of my shelf last year, off of my owned TBR. And so I thought it was kind of time to balance the shelves. So bringing some in, taking some out. So first, let's go over what I found and what I got for my birthday. I'm gonna go kind of in the order that, I'm gonna go in the opposite order that I acquired them. So newest to oldest. It's been a crazy day already. Okay, so I bought two books at the end of the month. They were delivered on Sunday, the 29th. I got, finally, Legendborn in hardback. This is the first book in a series. Right now it's a trilogy. I believe there's another one coming out. I don't know. I own the second one, the second and third, which are Bloodmarked and Oathbound. I own both of those and they are both in hardcover, and I couldn't ever find a hardcover of Legendborn, so I ordered it for myself. Love this book, read it twice. This is a young adult fantasy about Arthurian legends and trauma and racism and blood magic and root magic, and it's just a super great series. Again, I love the first one. I read it twice, and I just really needed to get a copy of my own. So I ordered this. I also ordered A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the second book in a duology. It is the Saga of the Unfated. I believe it's just going to be a duology. I have the first book, A Fate Inked in Blood. Have I read this? No. But it had pretty shiny edges, and this one has pretty shiny edges, and so I had to get it while I could still get it with the shiny edges. And because, you know, I'm a sucker for books. So this is the Saga of the Uncharted, right? Unfated. Same thing. Fate Inked in Blood, Curse Carved in Bone. Don't know anything about this because I haven't read this one. But now I own them both, so hooray. Okay, before I ordered those, my family and I had gone shopping. We went to the outlet malls. I found two nonfiction books. They were $1 each, so I paid $2 for these. This one is Without Their Permission, How the 21st Century Will Be Made, Not Managed by Alexis Ohanian. It purposely does not have the title on the cover. This is about the co-founders of Reddit and kind of how they became an internet sensation and like got their startup done and became Reddit. So it just sounded really interesting. So I don't know. Again, I say these were $1 each. They were actually 75 cents each, and then I rounded up for charity, so I paid $2 for both of these. So I figured 75 cents, why not? The other one I got was How We Fight for Our Lives, a memoir by Sahid Jones. This is a stunning coming-of-age memoir about a young black gay man from the South as he fights to carve out a place for himself within his family, within his country, within his own hopes, desires, and fears. So it sounded really interesting, and my son is making noises in the garage. I don't know, it just sounded really interesting, and again, 75 cents. I'd never heard of it, decided to pick it up. For my birthday, my husband took me used book shopping. I got 3 books, and so I got one book that I'd read before, which is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I've read this 2 or 3 times, but I don't have a copy of my own. Love this book, love this movie. traumatized me, as I am a child of the 80s and 90s, and if you watched this movie, it probably traumatized you too. But I love this story. I love the book. I love this cover, how it's like all rainbow. And yeah, I love this book. I love unicorns. I've said on here before, but if you're new or you don't remember, I was a horse girl as a child. And so I had unicorn, like everything, very obsessed with unicorns and horses. And so this is something that I've read several times and wanted to get a copy of my own. I also got Cujo by Stephen King. I love this cover. I don't know if I told you what this is about. I don't know if you know what The Last Unicorn is about. It's about a unicorn, and she thinks that she's the last one. So she goes on a trip to find the other unicorns, and she was told the tale that they were rounded up by the Red Bull and pushed into the ocean. And so she's on a quest to find the other unicorns, and there's magic, and there's thievery, and there's princes, and in the movie there is a pirate cat and a drunk skull. But anyway, so that's what this is about. Okay, also got Cujo. I assume a lot of people know what Cujo is. I don't know. I have actually listened to half of this, but I listened to it in 2019 on a plane, so I don't remember anything about it. It's about a dog named Cujo who gets bitten by a bat or raccoon or skunk. Probably a bat. He gets bitten and gets rabies and goes after a family. There's also other, like, there's people in this and families and family drama too. I have read a lot of Stephen King books. I have not read Cujo, and I liked that it was, I like this size. I like these, like, I know this isn't the original cover, but like these covers that they did when they republished them. So this one was published, I don't know when. Originally it was published, it says copyright 81. And then the first signet printing was 82. So anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I like these covers and like the small size of Stephen King paperbacks, so I picked this one up. I also got Full Moon by Jim Butcher. This is the second book in the Dresden Files. I got Stormfront, which is the first one, at my library sale earlier this year. I got it for like $1 or $2. And so I saw this one and figured I'll get it because it goes with my collection. Again, have I read Stormfront? No. Do I even know if I'm going to like these books? No. But I saw this one, so I got it. That's the story of my life. Okay, my mom was here. She was reading Blackwood's Blue Sky by, how do you pronounce this? Eowyn Ivy. This was an arc that she had. Apparently it came out in February. Again, my mother works for Barnes & Noble, so she has a lot of arcs, and she finished this one during her trip and left it here, so I put it on my bookshelf. So there's that. Okay, now comes the big part. Because my mom works at Barnes & Noble and she was here my birthday month, she took me shopping at Barnes & Noble. So here's the rest of my book haul. I got, once again, I don't know what this is about. My mom said it's like a modern retelling of Beauty and the Beast, set in Alaska. I don't know. Okay. Whoops, my book fell. When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This is his newest relief. I believe it came out in April, and it's a werewolf story. Jess is a struggling actress who finds a 5-year-old boy. They have an encounter with his father, and then they're on the run from his dad, who may be a werewolf. I don't know, but love Nat Cassidy. Read 2 of his other books, Nestlings and Mary. I'm pretty sure I gave both of them 5 stars. So, and I've heard good things about this, so I wanted to get this one. I got This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. I have no idea what this is about. Trippy, psychological, weird. Maybe like tech horror? I don't know. But Jordaline has talked about it a bunch, and so have a bunch of other horror YouTubers, and so I got it. As you can tell, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to why I pick books. I just pick them because I've heard of them, or mostly just because I've heard of them. I don't always know what they're about. Okay, the next one I got, Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is in the realm of the Elderlings, which is a 16 book series. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy. Everything that I've read suggests that you start with Robin Hobb and Realm of the Elderlings with the Farseer series, the Farseer trilogy. It's about Fitz. Heard that name. Never read anything by Robin Hobb. Heard a lot about Fitz. He's a king, a prince, I meant. Maybe a wizard. I don't know. But I'm gonna start another new series, because why wouldn't I? It's fantasy. Heard really good things. A lot of people who like Sanderson love Robin Hobb, so I decided to give her a try. I got Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinman. This is all over everything right now. At least the channels I watch, this is all over. This is a lit RPG, so literature RPG. You are following Carl. He is pet sitting his ex-girlfriend's cat. I don't know. The ground falls away. He finds himself in a cavern, and the world's being taken over by aliens, and now he's in a game show. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone is reading it. I've heard the audiobook is fabulous. My brother also got a copy of this, so we're gonna do like a buddy read together, even though he lives across the country and I live in the Midwest. We're gonna try to read it at the same time, and then we can talk about it. So, Dungeon Crawler Carl. That is so hard for me to say. Some people just say it like that. I can't. Couldn't be me. Okay, I have just 3 more. Just kidding. Yes, just 3 more. Okay, the next one I got, Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. Erin from Erin Megan read this, loved it. It is a fantasy book, obviously about dragons because there are dragons on the cover. I heard that this is an Anakin and Padme, like, retelling where they have a happy ending. I don't know. I like dragons. I like fantasy. I guess I like Star Wars. So I got it to try. I got Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher, one of my favorites. This is about a sword that turns into a man, and then someone falls in love with him? Possibly? I don't know. Very pretty. Sprayed edges on the end. T. Kingfisher, fantasy. She's almost an auto-buy author for me. The only reason I haven't bought all of her stuff is because I don't have money. But since I wasn't paying for this, I had my mom buy this. Also, I just remembered I have 2 more books on my shelf that I need to take off. Anyway, we'll talk about that. So just kidding, now I have 3 books left. Okay, I got Victorian Psycho by Virginia Faito. This is a gothic Victorian novel about a nanny who either the nanny's crazy or the kids are crazy. Someone's crazy in this book. Obviously, Psycho. Heard a lot of good things about this one lately and saw it and decided to pick it up. Story of my life. Okay, I gotta move these. I already put these. I forgot. Okay, I also got The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy and The Undermining of Twyla and Frank. I just read both of these books. I listened to them on audiobook. I am currently listening to the 3rd one, which is The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam. Love it. I just adore these. They're by Megan Bannon. It's the Heart and Mercy series. I don't know. I think it has a series name. This one, Hart Ralston is a marshal for Tanria. Mercy Birdsall is an undertaker. They hate each other. But it's romance, so they really fall in love. In this one, Twyla and Frank are both Tanrian marshals. Tanria is like this area in this world where you like go through the mist and like technology doesn't work there and there's like zombies there, but they got rid of the zombies. There's zombies there. And so the marshals protect people from zombies. Twyla and Frank, they are marshals. They are partners and longtime friends. And they find another marshal who has been unalived under suspicious circumstances. And so they are investigating his death and find more than they bargained for. I love them. I need to get a physical copy of the third one. That one's orange, so it will look beautiful with this. It comes out July 8th, so next week. But yeah, right now I'm just listening to it. So, oh my gosh, I have 19% battery. Okay, let me count up my books. I ended up bringing 18 books into my collection. Holy cannoli, that's kind of more than I thought, but that's okay. I have 2 stacks here of books that have been on my shelf that I want to get rid of. And hopefully I got rid of more than 18. Looking at these stacks, I think I did. So first I'm going to start with, ow, I just smashed my finger. I'm going to start with these couple books. Yes, I have 4 books. I have 4 books off of my physical TBR that I own, but I haven't read. And I just, I don't think I'm going to read them. I don't want them anymore. Red Dragon, I got at my library sale last year. It cost me 50 cents. I have actually listened to the abridged version of Red Dragon, and I thought that I wanted to like read the full thing, but I realized I don't, and I don't care. So I'll be getting rid of Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. This is the first book in like the Hannibal Lecter series. But again, already listened to the abridged version, don't really care about, why do they make abridged versions? I would rather just read the whole book, but I literally could not find an audiobook or a book of the whole, like, non-abridged version. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything, so I'm getting rid of this book. Getting rid of Ringworld by Larry Niven. Also cost me 50 cents. The only reason I picked it up is because my dad is a huge Larry Niven fan. I assumed he had this one, but I wasn't sure if he did. And so since it was only 50 cents, I thought I'd grab it and give it to him. He does already have a copy. And so if I want to read it, I can just I can borrow his copy. So getting rid of this one. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Sincero, yes. I've listened to part of this. At the time, I thought I wanted it. It says how to stop doubting your greatness and start living an awesome life. I was unimpressed with the parts that I listened to. I've had this for, gosh, over 10 years, and I just don't care anymore. If I do want to read it or listen to it, I can get it from the library. This book is The Sea Dragon Heir by Storm Constantine. I've said before, I have no idea where I got this book. I found it in a box of books from my dad. I'm assuming he got it for me a long time ago. Like the books in that box were from high school. I don't know anything about it. I tried to start reading it, couldn't get into it, don't care, getting rid of it. Okay, spoiler for June, I read Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter, finished it last night. Yeah, it was a 3. I don't want to keep this book. The Death Collector, I also finished that in June by Justin Richards. Both of these are YA, and while this one was not bad, it is not for me, and it doesn't need to be taking up space in my bookshelf when I have many, many teacher friends that might want this, or possibly even this, or there's a couple other books for their libraries, and so I'm not going to reread them, I'm just going to get rid of them. This one was a little harder for me to decide. This is called The Mummy by Barbara Steiner. I got this book in high school, like middle school, high school, and I was really, really obsessed with it. It's kind of like a horror book about a mummy. I went through an Egypt phase, as I feel like many people do. I've read it several times. Don't think I want to reread it. So again, why is it taking up space on my shelf if I'm never going to reread it just for keeping it for nostalgia's sake? I am going to see if my daughter wants this because this is more of like spooky and she's kind of into that. So I'll be getting rid of that. And one more young adult, Deadlands Hunted by Sky, Melky Wegner. This is an ARC that I got from my mom from Barnes & Noble over a year ago. It is about dinosaurs, 4 dinosaurs who are exiled and have to work together to figure out what's going on in their kingdoms. Again, cute, but middle grade. Yeah, ages 8 to 12. Middle grade, not gonna read it again, not for me. I have friends that could get more use out of this. See, that's already 8 books that I'm getting rid of. Hooray for me. And what did I say? 18, so I gotta get rid of 10 more. I'm pretty sure I have more than 10 in this box, but I have more than 10 in this stack. I'm getting rid of this copy of Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. One, I read it. Two, my husband has another copy. He has like a box set of all of the Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, so I just don't need another copy. And it's the movie version, as you can see, and I just don't really care. Also, I don't know if I'm ever gonna actually read this. I read it once. Not for me. I love The Hobbit. I've read The Hobbit like 4 or 5 times. I've read Fellowship once, and I read half of Two Towers, and then I gave up. That was also when I like just graduated high school, so anyway. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This is, again, a very good book. It is about 2 twins who, they live in a small southern black community, and they run away. They run away when they're 16. One twin comes back or stays. I think she comes back. She has, both of these twins are white passing. And so one twin comes home, back home, to live with her black daughter. And the other one lives her life as a white woman in California. And so it's kind of just talking about that. It was a beautiful book. I just don't think that I will read it again. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is a sci-fi book. It's also a TV series. I read it last year for Summerween. I got it at my library sale. So it's a sci-fi book about 20 years after a pandemic and what the world is like. And again, although it was good, I can get it from the library. I did listen to it. Like, I did immersive reading. Damn it. My light keeps dying. And I can't, hello, get off of that. Okay, we're rolling with it because this is my life today. My camera's about to die. One of my lights just died. Here we go. I gotta finish this. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to read this again. Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. Although I do love Stephen Graham Jones, this book, not a favorite of mine. It is about a man, a boy, who thinks he sees the ghost of his father and maps the interior of his mobile home to see where he sees his father's ghost. And I think there's more, but again, I didn't care for this one. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. I got this at my library sale last year, paid 50 cents, and thank goodness it was only 50 cents. I love this movie. I hate this book. I don't want to read it. I don't want to keep it on my shelf. I have 2 nonfiction books. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. This was really interesting, but I've already read it, and maybe someone else can get more knowledge out of it then. It's about circadian rhythms and why it's important that we sleep and get restful sleep. And it was interesting, but again, already read it. Don't need it. ADHD for Smartass Women by Tracy Otsuka. I read this last year. I thought it was interesting. It didn't have any new information for me necessarily, and so I want to take this out into the world and see if it can help someone else. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. Loved this book, but again, already read it. Don't think I'll read it again. It is about an autistic main character who wakes up one day and finds his neighbor's dog dead in the driveway and is trying to solve the murder of the dog. But the entire time, like, you can tell that this came out in, I don't know, 2018, I think. The entire time you're listening to him, because it's in first person. Came out in 2001. And it was a fabulous book, but if I want to read it, I'll get it from the library. The entire time you're just like, oh, you poor, poor child. You obviously are autistic and no one knows. So, I felt really bad for him, but I really liked this book. I just, again, don't see myself rereading it, or if I do, I can get it from the library. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This book sucked. It was so boring, so long. I read it in April. And the only reason I read it so fast is because I was out of town and it was the only book I had. And I don't want it. Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon. This is another ARC that I got from my mother. Again, really liked this. It's kind of creepy. It's about orphans and monster hunters and podcasters, and those things don't sound like they go together, but they do. And I did really enjoy this. I just don't foresee myself reading it. Basically, all of these, I enjoyed most of them. I just don't foresee myself rereading them, and I really want to keep space on my shelf for books that I want to reread. Same with 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. I did really enjoy this. This is the first Peter Swanson, the only Peter Swanson book I've read. It's kind of a retelling of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I think it's that one. 9 strangers find their names on a list. They mysteriously start dying, and you're trying to figure out who's killing them. So again, really liked it. Really good audiobook. Just don't want to reread it. Going Zero by Anthony McCartan. This was a very interesting book. Listened to it on audio. Got it from my mom again. Basically, there is this program called something Fusion, where it can track anybody at any time in the world. And so there are 10 participants in this game who have 2 hours to go zero and get off the grid. And if they can stay off the grid and unfound by this computer program for 30 days, they get like $4 million, $3 million. So it was interesting. I highly recommend it. I've not heard anybody talk about this. It is another arc, but it was very good, and it turned into like a thriller. I just don't want to read it again. And if I do, I listen to it on audiobook the first time. I'll just get the audiobook again. All right, and the last book that I'm getting rid of, Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. I also did not enjoy this book. I read it for my book club last year. It's about 3 estranged siblings. Their mother dies. They have to come back to the house to take care of everything, and it's like a thriller. And I was not that impressed. This is the only Geneva Rose book I've read. Again, just not that impressed. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I am getting rid of 21 books. I brought 18 in. That is not bad. Hello, editing me here. Not really editing. Anyway, I remembered that I had a box of books over there beside my bed of books that I wanted to donate. And so I'm also going to unhaul those. So some of them are silly, like I have this 60-second mysteries, 30-second mysteries. I don't know. It says the book you can play. I don't know where I got this. I've had it since high school. So I'm getting rid of that. The Guinness World Book Activity Book. Some of the activities are done, but most of them aren't. So I figured in a little free library, some kid might love this. And then the Giant Book of Card Games. I just don't need this anymore. I know how to play all the card games that I want to play. So those are 3. They're all okay. The next 3 are also kind of weird. Swingin' Chicks of the 60s. I don't know where I got this. I've had it since high school. The Best Monologues of 1998 for women. The best women's stage monologues of 1999. I used to be in theater. I'm not anymore. I don't need a monologue book. And then The Prophet. I have no idea where I got this, what it is. I don't know. I don't want to read it. So there's 6 more going away. And also I remembered I have 2 copies. Whew, that was dusty. Maybe don't do that. 2 copies of these books. I have Dragon's Dawn and Moretta, Dragon Lady of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. I absolutely adore Anne McCaffrey. But again, I already have copies of both of these books, and they are exactly the same as these. So I decided to keep the 2 that are in slightly better condition, and hopefully someone else will pick these up and read them and fall in love with Anne McCaffrey just as much as I have. So I think I was at 21 decluttered. Here's another 8. So what's that? 29? 29 decluttered, and 18 acquired. So decluttered, unhauled, whatever. 29 books to go away from my house and someone else can get use out of them. But anyway, okay. Back to the other video now. Bye. I'm happy with that. I would like to get rid of some more, and as I go through, these are all my books that I have not read. This is my physical TBR. As I go through them, several of them I can see myself unhauling. I still want to read them. I will probably give some of these, again, give some of them to my teacher friends. I would love to do like a little library video where I put some of these in free little libraries and get some out. I just haven't had a chance to do that, and now it's like a million degrees every single day. So hopefully I can do that, or I will donate these books. Especially the ARCs, I'm going to find free little libraries. I don't know if you knew this, but you're not really supposed to sell ARCs, which are advanced reader copies. I just got them from my mom because she's left them here, or, you know, she picked them up for me from Barnes & Noble. So I can't sell those anyway. I may try to take some of these to a local bookstore, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'm happy. I have more room on my shelves. Actually, you know, I don't have much room on my my haven't read shelf, so I need to work on that still. I'm so excited about all the books that I got, and only 2 of them are books that I've read before, and I really, really like that because I love getting new books and bringing them into my collection. And I'm not going to be sad to see most of these books go. So, bye. Sorry about ya. Thanks for clearing up space on my shelves. But now I want to know, have you read any of these books? What did you think? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.